fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds, like Power Prawn. Luke Simons, like diamonds, like Power Prawn, because we like Power Prawn, and that's what we're talking about today. If you guys have missed the news, the Power Prawn, sorry, I just cracked open this package, but the Power Prawn is the new shrimp, the artificial shrimp lure we just launched. This is only for our insider members only. So this is an exclusive one for members only, and we sold out in, 6 hours, 7 hours?
It was fast. I believe that's a new record too. It was shockingly fast. And so good that Joe can't even sit there without opening the package. Yeah. The holes in the package that he was trying to show for those who are listening. Real slick.
That is the packaging that I completely just ripped open because I wanted to get one of my 2 Power Prawns. So this is something we've been testing out, 6-7 months personally. We've had one of our members who has been using this shrimp named Marcos, and he's one of our Insider Club members, and he's constantly putting up like monster fish. I'm talking like over 40-inch snook, big redfish, tarpon, triple tail, permit, and is always using this shrimp. And we're like, dude, what are you doing over there? And then he posted the picture, I believe it was a $5,000 check he won in a saltwater fishing tournament, inshore fishing tournament, against some full-time guides who were using live bait, and all he used was this Power Prawn. So we've teamed up with him to get this Brazilian shrimp, and we've made some really cool changes. One you saw how was, if you're listening, you can't see it, but I'm holding this up by my finger. It's got a weedless slit. It also has another special little opening there towards the top to put some glass beads in, or put some beads in for a little bit more loud noises like a shrimp would be making. And we've come up with a custom couple of jig heads, which we're going to talk about here on the podcast and even show you how to rig it. And I truly believe there's never one lure that's just the best for everything. That's just not possible. Not even Slam Shady. There are some lures that we believe every serious angler should have in their tackle bag or their box or their tray. And this is certainly one of them. I believe this is probably the best artificial shrimp. I'm going to go on a limb for catching really big fish, big snook, big redfish, big flounder, big trout, even grouper consistently. We haven't seen anything else, which is why we put our money where our mouth is and bought a ton of these. We're having to obviously buy these ourselves and package them and distribute them to you guys. I believe it's one of the absolute best shrimp on the market for that. And because we don't have it pre-rigged, which I believe is one of the biggest issues, right, Luke? I was going
to say, I've been the one doing the most testing, and it is. So we've done a lot of tests. I've tested out every shrimp I could get my hands on, and this has been the most impressive. And that's why we went down the process on importing them from Brazil. And just so you know, they're like the shrimp specialists. That's, they have snook over there, and shrimp is the primary diet. Robalo. And so there's multiple companies out there. It's kind of like the shrimp over there, kind of like the paddle tails over here. There's a lot of people doing them. So they have a lot of people doing them, a lot of different companies making them, and they're just perfecting it, right? The more competition there is, the better the products are going to be. And so far, again, we're still going to keep our eyes open for improvements. But so far, this has been it, because as Joe mentioned, this is unique compared to all the ones out there. That is strong. So it's a really strong shrimp, but it's not pre-rigged, because the pre-rig is the problem in many cases. Plus you can add rattles if you need them, but the pre-rigging is the problem, because what that does is that inhibits the depth coverage range that you can do. So with any given weight, it'll usually cover 2, maybe 3 foot of depth range, and that's just not enough. So what we recommend, and what we do personally instead, is we get our soft plastics, and then we get a variety of different jig head sizes, jig head types, so that we can then customize the shrimp for whatever situation arises. If we need to cover deep or fishing, cuts, passes, even deeper docks, put a nice heavy jig head on there. And this is like a bucktail jig on steroids because it has the good action that a jig, like a bucktail jig, is probably one of the best, probably the most popular lures of all time, I would say, for fishing deeper water. Yep. It's awesome. This has the same action, but the extra bonus is that when the fish gets up there close to it, it looks like a shrimp and they're more likely to eat it. So I have totally stopped using bucktail jigs when I started using this, and I have not looked back. So just situations like that where you can customize. Then if you want to go shallow, right, just rig it up on a weedless hook. We're testing out a bunch of different hooks, and here's a smaller version of it as well on a weedless hook. And this has been crushing it up in the shallows. Fishing, the potholes on low tide, absolutely crushing. And so, and again, the reason why this is uniquely better than the others when we tested it, it's just more versatile, and it just flat out works.
Because what Luke's basically trying to say is all of these other artificial shrimp, this is made out of special material. I mean, super, super strong. I mean, it's crazy strong material. And a lot of the other ones are as well, right? I'm not going to drop names here, but you know who they are. Some of the top selling artificial shrimp, but almost all of them, they're crazy expensive and they come pre-rigged. That means you can only fish one part of the water column. I mean, that's the dumbest idea ever, right? That's what Marcos is like, man, it makes no sense why these companies are pre-rigging them. It's like handicapping you right off the bat. And most of them don't give you a ton of different options in terms of weight or a built-in jig head or a weedless hook to fish the different water columns. And so even with this first bundle that's sold out, but hopefully by the time you're listening to this, we have a whole nother batch in. We've put some really big orders in of both our custom jig heads, some of the weedless jig heads that Luke's showed you, and of course the actual shrimp. And to me, I think that's so cool that in just seconds, right, you can interchange these things. And in that bundle, we give you at least 3. We're probably going to add on more. I don't know what it's going to look like in the future by the time you hear this, but at least right now we're giving 3 different jig heads so you can quickly, and because this is so durable, you can put them in and out multiple times and it's not going to ruin the shrimp. It's not like a super soft plastic. This thing is really, really durable. And you could catch, I know when we first tested it with Marcos, I mean, we were catching multiple, overslot snook on just one little shrimp jig, and sometimes 10. The biggest issue is we were losing them because the line was breaking. It wasn't the shrimp, because we were getting into some really big snook and some really thick structure. That was the bigger issue. So these things will last a really long time. But Luke nailed it. The most important part is we give you the ability and show you in a free little video course to anyone who buys these exactly how to rig it and how to maximize the strikes, how to make sure this thing is hitting down and then making a little ploof. Like, that's what this big wide tail is for too, to really nail the ground and to really make a scene, if you will, down there. And every time we've fished this with pretty heavy weights, I know you've done some tests, Luke, and I've watched you do them when I'm on the boat and you're out fishing me and you got really heavy weight on it. It seems like you're just like, this thing is just knocking down, and the second it hits the ground, some big fish is coming over there and just like they're fighting over it. It's crazy how many big fish you catch on this thing.
Yeah, just to be clear, I mean, it really depends on how you're doing it, but when doing the jig, it's really the jig that's hitting and just making that little ploof. It's the weight hitting. The tail actually is elevated a little bit, and then when the tail comes up, the fact that it moves, it looks like it looks just like it's kicking up like a natural shrimp does. And then it'll do the same thing, bump down, and it drives fish crazy. Again, this is like, Joe, remember we did a scent test, and I was doing the scent on 2 different shrimp on the Power Prawns, and you were doing the Slam Shady. I love the Slam Shady, but the shrimp just crushed it because it was getting down there deeper, and I was hitting that bottom a little bit harder, and those fish were crushing it. It was, and I've seen that just continuously where before I was very hesitant and I rarely used heavier jig heads, meaning over a 1/4 ounce. That was kind of my max. And so I started just with this 1/2 ouncer, and now this is probably what I use more often than not. As long as I'm not fishing, under 3 feet of water, and there's, if there's a bunch of oysters or grass, I wouldn't throw it because it's literally hitting the bottom. But on sandy areas, particularly around docks, which I've been fishing a lot of, this has been by far the best producer and the best consistent producer too. Started it over the summer, and then throughout, even now, middle of winter, it's still working. And I don't see any end to it. It should be a type of lure that works in all seasons. And for Marcos, he uses it all the time. That's literally all he uses ever. Yep. And so far the results have been astonishing.
And we got to see them do one other technique that they use with a heavier jig head like that is going to wrecks, like even going to near shore and offshore wrecks and catching everything you can possibly imagine. We caught cobia that day. You can get hooked into amberjacks. I mean, monster snook, tarpon, triple tail, permit. I mean, it's crazy what this thing can do, from putting a half ounce, or even sometimes they'll put a 1 ounce. And this is 4.5 inches, by the way. This is a 4.5. This is a pretty big prawn. This is why we call it the Power Prawn. Super stretchy, super tough. And it is big, and it's attracting big fish. And because we have the weedless slit, because we're giving it the ability to rig however the heck you want, you could put everything from a full 1 ouncer down to a small little weedless, kind of like it's not a twist lock, but that type of a hook. I don't know if do you have one there, Luke?
Yeah, I have one. And this
not rigged.
Yeah, we're testing out multiple. This has been my favorite so far, where there's a pin at the top for kind of old school bass fishing days. This is what I used to use. And so it has a pin on the top and then a small little light head. And so this is on the bigger one, so on the 4.5 incher. And the pin just goes in the top. So this is just probably an inch and a half pin. And it has a couple little barbs on it just to make sure that it grips. And this material is super strong. So just that little pin alone, the thing's on there good.
Yep.
And so that holds the top. Then we put this is a wide gap hook, and it goes right through the underbelly, right? Because we have that weedless slit. And let me make sure I get it in there right. It's going to go right out the top. And there it is. So now we have this thing rigged weedless. We have this wide gap hook. I leave the hook, instead of burying the hook, this material is so strong, it actually could lose strikes that way, but I just keep it right on the top. And this is extremely weedless. I have not been snagged. I actually have some oysters that I slow rolled this through, or I should say slow dragged it through. And these eyes, it's unique setup because the eyes they stand out and they're pretty tough. Like this, it takes a little bit to move them. And so what happens when you're going down and the oyster is coming up on the side, the eye will hit it and kick the hook away. So even though that hook point is technically exposed, those eyes basically guarantee that it never gets hit. So pretty cool. And again, shockingly weedless while still having a good hookup ratio.
Yep.
So that's why this has been my favorite rig so far. And that's why we have gone ahead, and this is a custom one that we did. And we've gone ahead and ordered a big batch of them, both for the big shrimp as well as the junior size coming out soon.
And what size is the junior?
I think it's 3.5, I believe. It's like an inch shorter.
Sure.
And so it comes with a smaller hook, obviously. So we did all the hook sizing, right? We have it all down, so you don't have to go do all the pain and hassle of trying to match everything. And then as you know, we'll continually just check for different jig heads. We'll even check for different shrimp tails, right? And we're just continually looking for the ultimate tail. And as soon as we find a better one, then we're switching, right? And we'll let you know about it. And again, the cool thing about this is that, you know, for everybody who does buy as well, is that we do have like a full, Joe mentioned it before, where a course on how to use it. It's one thing to get a lure, and it's really more important to know how to use it and to know all the unique little tweaks and tidbits on just how to maximize results. So we have, again, for everybody who buys, there's a mini course that covers how to retrieve it, how to set the hook, right? Even how to store it, right? How to, what equipment to use with it. And so just all the things that make, and, you know, each one is probably just a little bit valuable, but they all compound. And so it's just a good way to make sure that you're getting the max out of your equipment.
Yep. And we got some cool underwater footage too. If you look at this, some of you might be wondering, like, hey, does it come in a bunch of colors? No. Just like with Slam Shady, you find something that works really well everywhere. And this is it. This looks underwater very, very similar to a real shrimp. You can see, if you're watching, you're going to see this. If you're listening, you're not. But it's a natural color. It looks like a natural shrimp prawn, if you will. And you can see a little red in there. And also some gold and silver flakes, similar to Slam Shady. We know this stuff works, and it's just proven to work time and time again. It worked down in South Florida. We've taken it on the Keys. We've fished Everglades multiple times. We got both coasts. We have this now up in North Carolina, testing everywhere. Texas now, everywhere we're testing this out. It is working. It is consistently getting strikes from big fish, even in times when other lures and even live bait aren't. And that was a big, bold statement Marcos made. And he even said in Brazil, he's like, they hardly even use live bait. He's like, it is a little bit tougher to find. It's not as easy as like it is here in Florida, a big chunk of the year. But he says, even then, most people just use this stuff because it just works. You put the right jig head on it, or a weedless hook or weedless jig head, whatever you happen to have. And depending on the depth, and you fish this the right way, which is what, the video shows. Cause that did take me a little while to get used to. It's basically like a bucktail. You made that analogy. That was how we learned how to use and fish a bucktail the correct way. And then once you get in the zone, if you will, and get a little, and just a little bit of confidence with it, all of a sudden you're like, all right, I get it. Remember that first time we used it, it took a couple, I don't know, a few retrieves, and all of a sudden we got that first strike, and we're like, all right, I get it now. I understand exactly when they're hitting and why. It's powerful.
Yeah, and I've done some tests with rattles too, and because you can just quickly take them in and out, and so I have seen some instances where it's helpful, and I've seen some where it's hurtful as well. And so that just stuff like that we cover in that course. Again, it's all fascinating. It's all, again, it's a lot of shrimp lures work. Right. And same with a lot of everything. But this one so far, again, when doing the small things properly, it's been awesome. So I can't wait to keep trying it. I'm sure the spring will be great as well. But so far, summer, fall, and winter has proven to be extremely good.
Yep. And we'll put this up against any shrimp lure out there in the market. You can't get these anywhere else in this exact color, this exact seam, this exact pattern, this exact mold. Nothing else out there like it. Super, super strong and durable. You can catch dozens of fish on this one lure. Rigs up really, really well. And I'm pumped for you guys to try it out. Of course, right now, the only bad news is because of limited supply, this is for insider members only. And our members do save 20% off of it. So we made it a no-brainer. Got a really cool little bundle package. And once we get all the bundles out, then we'll open it up for, just lures separately. You could buy the custom jig heads for it, et cetera. And then we'll be adding on the scent. That's a lot of people have been asking for that. We teamed up with Dr. Juice, the doctor who actually has spent his entire career studying scents, meaning the smell for underwater and what fish are attracted to, and just as importantly, what they don't like. And they have come up with an inshore saltwater scent just for us that they've been working on all of last year. And every time we test it, the sucker keeps working. So I think if we put that Dr. Juice / Salt Strong custom saltwater slam scent on this shrimp, I don't think anything else will touch it out there. It's a big challenge, but I'd love for someone to prove me wrong, because we'll start doing that. But so far, nothing is beating that. And so we'll have that Dr. Juice scent coming up pretty soon as well. Put that on there, and it might be illegal in tournaments before you know it. No more power prawns. Too easy.
Yeah, and just like all of our stuff too. If you don't think it's awesome, just let us know to get your money back. So we're a fishing club, and our goal is to make sure that you catch more fish while saving money on the tackle you need. And so we stand by in everything that we provide. That's a unique discriminator. I don't know of any other tackle company that would just give you full refund, no questions asked, if you don't think the stuff's good. But that's how confident we are. So we know you're going to like it. Most importantly, we know you're going to love the club. So if you're not in the club, try that first, because the know-how is the most important thing. You have to know where the fish are for the tackle even matters. So if you're not in the club, try it. And if you're in the club, try these shrimp out. I think you're going to love them.
Yep. In the club, for those of you who don't know, it's really 3 main pieces, and you can see all of that. It's saltstrong.com. You'll see a little button to join the club. And number 1 is this premium education, not just how-to videos and not just our courses, even though those are amazing. But one of the biggest things is the time saving, right? We know, and we've heard from our now almost 20,000 members as we're recording this, the number one issue is, man, I don't have time to go out there and pre-trip plan. I don't have time to go scouting like I used to when I was young and didn't have a job or a family. And so we do all that for you. We literally take all this long learning curve and all the intel and all the trends and all the things that are going out there and boil it down into a really simple and understand way to make sure you're fishing in the right spot at the right time. It's called Luke's Weekly Game Plan, where we curate all the reports from Texas to Florida to really New Jersey and everywhere in between, and literally show you the type of spots to go fish every weekend to catch inshore saltwater slams. To me, it's just for that alone, it's a no-brainer. And then you throw in the tackle discounts, which is the second piece of the club. So all in some proprietary products. We have rods, reels, everything you can imagine in there now. A little bit tough with COVID inventory, but we're getting a ton of stuff coming in really, really soon. And then the third part is the community. That part's been real special to us with 20,000 members in a custom built community. We're not on that stinking Facebook. We're not on the Instagram, even though we obviously have accounts there, but the community exists far away from that stuff in a far off, beautiful land where everyone is nice and friendly and sharing, and there's no cursing, no negativity. And it's our insider community. And it's family. I mean, it's awesome. And I'm being serious. There's no cursing allowed. There's no negativity. It's just people sharing. New reports going up every 4 to 5 minutes. All kinds of just amazing questions and people sharing where can you find the bait? What's working in this area? Where are the redfish right now over here in Corpus Christi, Texas? I mean, it's so cool what people are sharing, what our members are sharing in there. Just anglers helping anglers. I think it's just it's everything I wish was around when we first started getting into fishing. But it's not for beginners at all. The majority of our members are not beginners. They're hardcore weekend warriors, people who just want to get better every weekend, and even some full-time guides. Obviously, we do have beginners as well, but we're attracting everyone. It's been really, really cool. Everyone's on a different journey, and all of us, if you're still listening to this, just we want to get better. We want to be more consistent. We want to get more strikes, and we want to maximize our time, which is limited out in the water. So join us in the club. Those are the three big things. And like Luke said, we back it up with a pretty crazy bold guarantee. Get all your money back any time if you're not 100% satisfied. And if you go a whole year and you think it wasted your time, we'll double your money back. And that's crazy. So you actually have nothing to lose. We will actually pay you if you think this just completely wasted my time. So check it out, saltstrong.com. And of course, fishstrong.com is our online tackle store where our members can get things like the Power Prawn and save 20% and sometimes even more in a few cases. But certainly get some proprietary stuff anytime you want at fishstrong.com.
Going to be good.
Oh, it's not going to be good. It is good, my friend. Otis perked up right there.
Yeah, he's finally up. You can see him. He's been joining us down there in the corner.
Yep, too funny. Cool, guys. We really appreciate you, all you insider members who are listening. Thank you so much. You're the foundation of this company. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. We talk about you every single day, talk about just what can we be doing to add more value? How can we better serve you? And so we'd love to hear from you. If you have anything that we can do to improve your catch ratio or just improve anything that we're doing in the community, let us know. If there's any certain products you want to see, let us know. We want to go out there and not only test them out, but also, purchase them on your behalf and give you that the big discount. So saltstrong.com. And of course, you insiders, our emails, but the best place is just going right there in the community, community.saltstrong.com. That's the private link, and get in there and ask any questions you want. We check it every single day. We're spending a lot of time in there. So guys, we appreciate you. Go out, get your Power Prawns. If you're a member, if you're not a member, join the Salt Strong Club today. You will not regret it. It will be the best fishing investment you have ever made. Guaranteed. We out. Saltstrong.com. See you guys.
See ya.
Power Prawn.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was